the next take I found from the IWC is another example of how you get on Dirty D list immediately. And this one almost sent me into a spiral. So BET, the television channel BET, put out a list of the best black professional wrestlers of all time. And to me, it's about as accurate as I would expect a list to be made that was made from a group that is not in the wrestling community. So I don't argue with the list. Lists are all subjective and everybody gets to make a list the way they want. My problem was the IWC's response to this list that sort of sent me over the deep end. And it was one tweet in particular that I saw in regards, I saw this list. I was kind of reading through the list. I thought this is neat. This is a good list. This is one of the better lists I've seen. And then there was a response, first response highlighted right under the tweet that says, Bianca Belair shouldn't be anywhere near this list. Now, what fucking hole did this piece of shit crawl out of that they're trying to explain to me that Bianca Belair doesn't belong on a list of the 15 best black professional wrestlers of all time? Excuse me, who the fuck are you? And what made it even funnier was this was a white person who tweeted this. That made it even funnier to me. Not that race matters. That I just found that comical. Now let's read through the list, right? Number 15, we have Jazz. Number 14, Shelton Benjamin. Number 13, Naomi. Number 12, Jacqueline. Number 11, Biggie. Number 10, Devon Dudley. Number 9, Bianca Belair. Number 8, Bobby Lashley. Number 7, Ron Simmons. Number 6, Junkyard Dog. Number 5, Sasha Banks. Number 4, Mark Henry. Number 3, Kofi Kingston. Number 2, The Rock. And number 1, Booker T. Like I said, I don't want to argue the validity of this list. This is BET's list. It's not my list. My list would probably look different, right? The only thing I'm here to question, the only thing I'm here to address right now is how someone in their right fucking mind could say that Bianca Belair does not deserve to make this list. I am completely fine with her being number 9 on this list. I could make arguments, if I'm picking apart the list, that Devon probably at this point in her career goes higher on this list than Bianca Belair, right? So we could move her to maybe number 10. I could argue that Ron Simmons was disrespected by being number 7. He should be in the top 5. I could question The Rock not being number 1 on this list. There are things that there are arguments that could be made about this list that I would have the open discussion with somebody about. But the idea that Bianca Belair does not belong on a list of 15 black professional wrestlers is absolutely asinine to me. And this, there are other questions. I would openly have the question, because this was one of the first things when I read this list. This was a philosophical question that came to me that I would love to have an open discussion about. And that is, how is The Rock not number 1? On a list of greatest black professional wrestlers of all time. Because here's the thing. I understand the argument, the philosophical argument that The Rock has a black father and a Samoan mother. I understand that argument, and so he may not be 100% black. But if he qualifies for the list, does he get docked on the list for not being 100% black? That's a real question I have that I would like to have the conversation about. The conversation I'm not going to have, though, is whether or not Bianca Belair is a top 15 black wrestler in the world. I'll have the conversation. Is there a world where Booker T is a better wrestler than The Rock on any list? That's a serious question. But I won't have the conversation. I won't allow the disrespect to act like Bianca Belair hasn't earned her way onto a list like this. And the question I ask constantly to the IWC is, where does this hate stem from? Where does this ignorance of wrestling stem from with the IWC when it comes to Bianca Belair? She has been a staple in WWE for the last 9 years. That's consistency. She's a constant mainstay in the main event scene of the biggest wrestling company of all time. And right now, the company's the biggest it's ever been, and she's about to be in one of the biggest matches at WrestleMania. She's the longest running Raw Women's Champion of all time. So tell me, where does this hate come from? Because I got a comment on a video I made a couple weeks ago where I talked about this same thing, and sometimes I sound like a broken drum, but it is ultimately confusing to me, and maybe I'm too close to it, right? Maybe I'm just a Bianca Belair fan, and that's the problem. So you guys could talk me down off this ledge, but I got a quote that said here, Bianca is overrated. She has a limited moveset, and she's whiny on a mic. Get off her nuts, Dirty D. That was directed directly at me. And I don't understand what the IWC infatuation is with these overinflated movesets, right? Look at the most successful pro wrestlers in history. And they have a very condensed moveset that the casual audience can comprehend. Look at your John Cena's. Look at Jey Uso. Look at Roman Reigns. Add Bianca Belair. It's not the flex that the IWC think it is that a guy like Will Ospreay could do 200 different variations of the suplex. Because that same guy who can do 200 variations of a suplex, he can't sell 12 tickets and 8 t-shirts. And to me, that's the definition of pro wrestling, is who can get over with the crowd. Bianca Belair, is she phenomenal on a microphone? I'd say she's fine. I'd say Bianca Belair's just fine. Is she better when she's chasing a title? Sure she is. Is this latest story she in a little bit dramatic and overacted? That's what it's supposed to be. It's fun. I'm enjoying this latest story where she's double working with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky on one side, and she's working Jade Cargill and Naomi on the other side. That it's all fun. That's what it's supposed to be. But let's also keep in mind, because the IWC is quick to forget. IWC loves a good heel, right? The IWC needs everybody to turn heel. That's what they need. That's what gets them excited. That's what gets them to pop. But the reality is Bianca Belair's had to work the main roster as a babyface the entire time she's there, and that is much harder to do than to be a heel. To be a heel, there are so many cheap tactics that you can use, talking about sports teams, talking about the culture of a city. You could do so many things to get reactions. As a babyface, it's literally you on an island having to talk about yourself and having to hype yourself up. And she does a completely efficient job of that on a microphone. to say that she's bad on a microphone is completely disrespectful to people who are actually bad on a microphone. Now, talk about her moveset. Her moveset's perfectly fine. For the pace of the style of matches that WWE wants to present her in, which is high energy on a nightly basis, she gets the job done. She does a couple flips. She whip people with her hair. She's got a wide enough moveset. I've never watched a Bianca Belair match and thought, damn, if she could do 10 more suplexes, that would just really get me over the top. The reality is, for the style that the WWE wants her to work, that's what it is. It's wild to me that the IWC will sacrifice all of the fun, all of the entertainment, all of the repetition that makes wrestling kind of get ingrained into your system. They will sacrifice all of that so that they could be hipster, so that they could feel cool, so that they can talk shit about people who are easily top 15. Easily. There's no argument she's top 15. I could argue her farther down the list. Her and Devon, I could argue farther down, closer to number 1 on that list. Where I'm more concerned, another argument if you could bring up is, why is D'Lo Brown not on this list, right? That's an argument I'll accept. Why is the Godfather not mentioned on this list? The Boogeyman, why are they not getting recognition? But like I said, it's a subjective list. It's BET's list. They could do whatever they want. I would have those conversations with someone openly. I will not have a conversation of why is Bianca Belair on a top 15 all-time black wrestlers list. If you really want to have a conversation about someone on this list, let's talk about why Sasha Banks is number 5 and how much her stock has plummeted in the casual realm of wrestling since she left WWE. I'll have that conversation with you. I'll have a conversation right now. I'll make the fucking argument right now that Bianca Belair, at this point in time, right now, is a better wrestler than Sasha Banks. You want to have that? You want to have that argument? Jump in the comments. We can have that argument.
ready to rumble. The casual pod don't stumble.